The Arsenal game was pretty fun. You got to see Haaland being a bully, Arsenal playing the best anti-football match ever.
When they went down to 10 men, went from Bukayo Saka to Bukayo sacrificed, and these men had 9 at the back like Ronaldo Nazario.
We got to see Kai Havertz with the worst stat of all time.
0 passes completed. Havertz across the whole game.
And we also got to see Rodri being injured. The player with the longest unbeaten streak in football history. The player who had 27 goals contribution as a defensive midfielder. Euros, Champions League, UEFA Nation player of the tournament. Manchester City main guy is now injured and the whole world is happy.
If he's out for the season, it's good for the title race.
But in a serious note, this will be a huge loss for Manchester City, as Rodri being identified for a very long time as the one player Manchester City can never replace, not even for 1 or 2 matches. We all remember what happened last season when he got the red card and City had to face Wolverhampton, Arsenal and then Aston Villa later without him, which resulted in Manchester City losing the only 3 matches in that season. No Rodri in the team doesn't just mean that you're not gonna win. It means that you're directly losing.
You know, with him, they don't lose. Without him, they do.
How can one player be that important? Even when Rodri wasn't Manchester City main guy, he was still very important. A player that turned into a striker when you needed the goal. A player that turned into a center back when you were about to concede. And a player that turned into a creative playmaker when you lost the vision. He's him. Rodri is that important. That's why the Premier League is celebrating.
Really? That could be a big blow for Manchester City.
It is a big blow.
He is a clutch player.
And now, Rodri is out for the rest of the season after tearing his ACL against Arsenal. And according to multiple reports, the season is over for him and the transfer window is also closed. So what will this mean to Manchester City and how it will affect the club? Okay, let's calm down and let's be real for a second. It's the end of Rodri season, but not Manchester City's. City must find a solution. City had multiple players injured over the years since Pep has run the club. Kevin De Bruyne, for an example, was injured for half a season in both 18 and 19 and 23-24, and City still managed to win the league. All the time Aguero got injured in his last 2 seasons, so what happened then? Pep Guardiola revived the false 9. This same lineup that Arsenal played against us. And it resulted in some incredible results like Manchester City reaching its first Champions League final. Or when Cancelo was causing City goals in every single counter-attack, which resulted in Pep Guardiola switching to the 3-2-4-1 with Bernardo and Grealish dropping down in defense instead. And everybody knows what happened then. History made. So in general, what all of this means, whenever there is a City player that's either injured, left, or not performing well, our ball genius will always find a solution. That's what he's been doing in his entire career, not just in Manchester City, but in the Barca days too. Now, the Rodri challenge would be his hardest challenge, maybe ever. In the last 4 years, he built the entire team around him, and Rodri not being in the starting 11 meant that you're losing. But let's be real for just a second, there's a huge difference now. When Rodri got the red card last season, Pep Guardiola had no time to change the team to a whole new tactic. So instead, he pushed other players to play in his position, and of course it did not work at all, because Rodri is the best player in his position and you can't replace him just like that. Till City signs someone in the next transfer window, Pep Guardiola will be forced to find a solution. So what are the options as for now? Solution number 1, Matteo Kovacic. Rodri did not start the first 4 Premier League games of the season with Kova being utilized in these matches, either as a lone number 6 or in a pair. And to be fair, he played pretty good. He's in the Premier League top 5 for touches by any defensive midfielder. Solid at controlling the rhythm of the game. Like the many matches last season, Pep used him as a substitution in the last 20 minutes of the game to calm the things down. Whenever the opposite team is pressing him to take off the ball, he was very fluid, especially with the passes and the movement. Though goals are not really necessary, crucial part of his game. They already have a very beautiful one this season. The good thing is, Kovacic always scored a long-range goal from time to time, and he created 7 chances so far. Solution number 2, Rico Lewis or Ilkay Gundogan. Still just 19, Lewis is the most integrating option, with Guardiola saying after the Arsenal draw.
I can play in every position. When you ask when you play, what is your position? No, I play holding midfielder. No, I play winger. No, I play that. Rico play football. If you put in one position, he knows exactly what he has to do.
His most obvious shortcoming is his height. With being 5'7", he is very short for a defensive midfielder. midfielder, would likely lose Ario Barros and physically out-muscled. His technical intelligence, progressive passing and defensive reading of the game will make him the best long-term replacement for Rodri, if he settles into the role very well. And of course, let's not forget Gundogan. While Kevin De Bruyne got injured in 2020, Gundu took it upon himself to lead the team. It was nothing less than a magical run. Now, he will have to do that in a different position, and number 6. Gundogan played as a defensive midfielder 102 matches in his career, so that's not something new to him. He'll most likely be paired with Kovacic in the next few fixtures. Ilkay Gundogan have the ability to fulfill a variety of duties in the midfield. Key passes, controlling the game, creating chances, and of course being productive against the goal. If we talk about Kovacic or Gundogan, defensively they are really weak. So Pep Guardiola will probably do his best to control the ball most of the time to provide counterattacks. But of course counterattacks will happen, so who's here to stop them? We have Stones, a very fluid player between the defense and the midfield, and already been tested in a treble winning season. We also have Jack Grealish, very solid in the defense with the ability to carry the ball as well. Matheus Nunes, who's being regarded as the 7th fastest player in the Premier League. So maybe if he focuses in his defensive side, he might just be it, as he will be a perfect right hand. From the defense, we also have Guardiola, who is very good going forward with the ball, defensively a beast as well as being good against the goal. And of course, let's not forget our last option, Calvin Phillips, who for some is regarded as Manchester City's worst ever transfer. He'll be back in January. It will be now or never for him, a perfect chance to prove himself. But should Manchester City leave all these options and sign a player instead? Since Calvin Phillips never really worked for Manchester City, the decision should have been made last season. Manchester City should have went for another player, tried to go for Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, and of course they refused. And the season before that, we all remember when they went for Declan Rice, and West Ham asked for a lot of money, which Arsenal was okay with. So at least City is trying, but they never went all out for a DM. So will City do it this time? A panic buy still sounds very surprising, knowing that City don't do business in the winter transfer window. Nevertheless, we have Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad and Ederson from Atalanta. Or maybe they should just retalk with Newcastle for Bruno G. These 3 look like a very good choices, but of course they will be very expensive, as the clubs will probably know these are panic buys. And also, Kimmich is currently cooking under company, so it's not happening. Perfect choice will be a free agent, which is Toni Kroos. Solution number 3, a new tactic. As we said earlier in the video, Pep will always have a plan, and maybe this time he'll change the current tactic to a tactic that doesn't really rely so high on a defensive midfielder, which is very unlikely and very hard, knowing that Pep relies on defensive midfielders since his time at Barca, since he started his career at management. But no one knows the future, and everything is possible now. And yeah, that's it for the video. Tell us in the comments which solution you think would be better for the club. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, because it will help us get to a larger audience, and see you in the next one.